everyone, hope you're all okay. I am sure some of you had a fantastic day yesterday, remembering VE Day with street parties and bunting and cakes and scones. Certainly seen some pictures and they seem fab. Looks like you had a great time. I'm going to carry on with our chapter 3 of Saving Grace. So far we've had Sammy, who's decided he's going to pretend that he was the person that actually saved this fantastic penalty instead of his friend Grace. So chapter 3, Harris hits the big time. The Rangers' grounds was close to our house, which explains how Harris could be hanging around when I arrived. I noticed him walking around the backs of the stand seats when Mr. Quint showed us around. I was feeling a little bit unsure of myself at the time, a little bit lost in that huge stadium, so I was pleased to see him. Well, to begin with, anyway. As we left the pitch and made our way down the tunnel to the changing rooms and the offices, Harris joined us. He came snaking around the corner and trotted along ahead of us. I couldn't be sure, but I thought he turned round and gave me a funny look, almost as if he was winking. "Cyril! Cyril!" called Mr. Quint. "That blinking black moggie's turned up again." A little round man in a tracksuit came hurrying out from one of the rooms with a big plastic bucket full of water. "Leave it to me, Mr. Quint," he squeaked. "Leave it to me." And he began to skip around in chase of Harris. He was quick on his feet for a small man with a big bucket, but he was no match for Harris. The cat was suddenly nowhere to be seen, and Cyril sent his load of water flying into space, just as a man was sticking his head out of one of the other rooms to see what the noise was all about. "Watch out!" shouted Cyril, a shocked and frightened look on his face. As he shouted "watch," the water was on its way. As he shouted out, it had reached the startled man, splashing into his face and ending up in a puddle at his feet. There was a moment of silence. Cyril cleared his throat and put the bucket down. Reginald T. Quint took me by the elbow and began to edge slowly backwards. "Cyril," said the man softly, flicking water from his dripping hair. "Yes, Mr. Dockery," whispered Cyril. "Why did you do that?" Cyril swallowed. "I thought you were a cat, Mr. Dockery," he said, and before anybody could say anything else, he picked up his bucket and run. The soaked man then caught sight of us. He beckoned us with his finger and we edged forward again. I recognised his name when Cyril spoke to him. His name was Ted Dockery, the manager of Ragley Rangers. I should have recognised his face too, but somehow he didn't look like his photographs. I suppose the bucket of water made a difference. "Oh, what are we here?" he asked Mr. Quint, peering closely at me. "This is Sammy Smith," said Mr. Quint, "the greatest natural goalkeeper I've ever seen in my life." He didn't sound quite as sure as he did when he saw me save the penalty. I mean, when he thought he had seen me save the penalty. Maybe this was a good thing. Or maybe this was the time to explain the mistake. "Hello, Mr. Dockery," I said. I think there's been a bit of a slip-up. But I was so nervous that no words were coming out of my lips. They just smacked together and a sort of hissing sound came out. Mr. Dockery ignored me. "Get rid of him," he said. "We've got 2 very good goalies already. I don't want another one, especially one that hisses." And he went back into his room and slammed the door. I was relieved. It didn't seem such a good idea to be a goalie for Rangers anymore, and I wanted to get back to Robert and Grace and the rest of my friends. I found my voice again. "Well, it was very kind of you to show me around, Mr. Quint," I said. I must be getting along now." But just as I turned to go, there was a crash and some screams from down the corridor, and Mr. Dockery opened his door again. "Now what's going on?" he said sharply. I wonder if Harris the cat has got something to do with that. For now, that's all, and I'll be back soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.